Welcome back to Hardball. Rising gas prices could play a pivotal role in the 2012 election. Here are the latest numbers from AAA. Nationwide, regular gas goes at $3.87 a gallon right now for regular. That's a 29-cent jump from a month ago, a dollar jump from a year ago. Well, the new ABC Washington Post poll drills down to gauge the opinions of independent voters who say surging gas prices have caused them serious financial harm. In other words, these are people who are in the middle, independent politically, but are saying that these gas prices are killing them. 67% of this group disapprove of President Obama's job performance. 60% said he definitely won't even vote for the guy. So this is cutting into him among, I guess, these independent voters who are hard hit. I guess they have to travel a lot. In a head-to-head matchup among these voters, Mitt Romney, they choose Romney 24 points by 24. So Joan Walsh, this is a tough one. She's editor-at-large for Salon.com, and Douglas Holtz-Aiken is a former economic advisor to John McCain in the presidential campaign. Joan, I believe that we lost, if you look at it, gas prices is one of those things that hits people right in the face. They look at that pump. It goes up to maybe 80 now for a Supreme. And a couple times a week if you have to really commute a distance. And they go, wait, this has taken all the cash money out of my life. I can't buy shoes for the kids. We can't have a good meal once a week. We can never go to the movies. Ain't got anything. It's killing not just our extras, but our basic living. I do think they're going to blame the president for this to some extent. In fact, they may blame him mostly. What's your thinking?
I think it's tough. There's no doubt about it. It's particularly going to be hard. We've talked a lot about swing states like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, where a certain kind of working class voter is really feeling this pain at the pump and can't change his or her lifestyle dramatically. They have to drive. They have to get the kids to school. Those are the people who are really having a hard time. But the president is being a grown-up about this, and being a grown-up, as you know, is not often rewarded. But he's acknowledging that there's very little he can do in the short term. I mean, we all talked about this, including Doug, back in 2008 when prices shot up under President Bush. There's very little in the short term a president can do. So he's got to keep the conversation going about alternative energy sources. We all know we need to reduce our dependence on foreign oil. But in the short term, I don't know how persuasive that's going to be to swing voters.
Doug, people are pretty sophisticated when you ask them what's causing gas prices to go up. Most people say, a plurality say, well, it has to do with the Middle East, obviously. That's where we get a lot of our oil. And then the second most, they blame the oil companies. And they get down to blaming the president. Of course, none of those other interests are. The Middle East isn't running for president next year. Neither are the oil companies. Obama is. So he's going to be the last guy in the gang to get out the door if you're blaming somebody. Your thoughts, Doug? The politics and the economics of this.
I mean, on the politics, they're going to blame the president. The sitting president always gets blamed for these situations. We've seen this movie again and again. On the substance of policy, the Obama administration has not been very good on oil. They've been, a little weak on onshore drilling, weak on offshore drilling. But
what would McCain have done differently? Let's get through it.
But even if they had done differently, you can't change this. We had $140 a barrel for oil back in 2008. The whole world went into a recession. Oil prices went down. We didn't add any new supply in the interim, so now the economy's recovering. We're seeing oil prices go back up. So the president's stuck, and he, as a matter of politics, is doing about the only thing he can do, which is try to change the subject as fast as he can. But he doesn't have many places to go. He's not been great on jobs. He's not done great on debt and spending. And so now he's got a problem with gasoline.
Well, let me ask you this. If we were raping this continent, if we were drilling offshore everywhere, deep drilling, risking everything, just like we did with BP, if we were taking apart the Anwar and drilling everywhere, would the price of gas be much different in a world market since it's all fungible? If we were doing all that here in the United States, would the price of gas be much different? I'm just asking that question.
No, he can't change the price very much. So, I mean, he's trying to do things.
But the conservatives are saying all you got to do is pump all you got to do is drill like Al Peleni says. Just go out there and start digging, right. drilling, and somehow the price of gas is going to go down in the world market. You're saying that's not true?
Well, I mean, you can't change the world price very much with U.S. exploration. You certainly can't change it quickly. We know that, and I think Republicans have been honest about that. You also aren't going to change the price of gasoline by attacking oil companies. The president's saying, we've got to get rid of $4 billion in subsidies. That's 3 cents a gallon. Okay?
Would you get rid of them?
That's not a solution.
Would you get rid of them?
Yeah, but you're not going to change the gas prices.
Yeah, but you'd get rid of them.
You've got to have a tax reform that levels the playing field. We know that. It's long
All
overdue.
I know, guys, is the profits the oil companies are making go through the roof every time we get a quarterly report. It's unbelievable.
And you know, it was 2008 we saw it, and we're seeing it again. They're up 45-50% already this year. And I think Obama's right to say, with that kind of situation, we can't afford these subsidies. You know, Doug, you're being incredibly honest, and I appreciate that. But there are Republicans who are saying that baby drill would make a difference when we know it would not. And people who criticize the president for taking a pause after the BP spill to figure out how those permits were being issued and to say we're not going to let that happen to the Gulf again, that was hugely popular at the time. To be demagoguing him for doing that at this point, I think is irresponsible. Other people are doing that.
He has flip-flopped back and forth on oil, and he has a long record of that.
Wait a minute, you're talking about Boehner, right?
No,
Boehner's
we're
been all over the
talking
place in about 3 days here. Boehner was saying we got to hit the oil companies. The other day got the word. I guess they've informed him, stop talking.
Let's be very clear
hit the
while
oil
we're being
companies.
honest. While we're being honest, let's be very clear that demagoguing oil company profits does nothing either. You get 3 cents a gallon off these subsidies. You're not even going to get a quarter out of all of oil company profits. You could confiscate the whole thing. So those aren't solutions. And to go after that, as the president has, is not a solution.
Well, I think
and to offer up. I mean, this makes no sense. I'm going to get rid of that oil company subsidy and give a renewable subsidy.
Wait a minute. I thought you guys were against redistribution.
We trade one corporate welfare for another. That's not change.
But, Doug, you're against redistribution. Why are you for redistributing the money for the person driving a car back and forth from a suburb they got to work in? And wait a minute, give them money to the oil companies. Isn't that redistribution? Isn't that just giving money to rich people?
I don't believe I said anything about redistribution. I'm talking about not giving corporate welfare to renewables when you're opposed to corporate welfare for anyone else.
I don't think it's corporate welfare. Right now, we need investment in renewables. It's the only way we're going to get it.
This is what everybody's talking about in the real world, by the way. What we're talking about right now.